Now Cleveland.
Our community is heartbroken over the loss of a teacher and a mother who was murdered. Aisha Fraser's ex-husband, former Cuyahoga County Judge Lance Mason, now in police custody.
These two children are left with no mother or no father.
Mason's charged with felonious assault after injuring an officer with his car while trying to get away from police. He's not been charged in Fraser's death. News 5's Homa Bash live right now at Woodbury Elementary in Shaker Heights. That's where a vigil for Fraser will begin in just over an hour. Homa.
Rob, this entire community is so shaken. All day long, we've seen teachers, families, and students coming to Woodbury Elementary to mourn Aisha and speak with grief counselors. Her family telling us that support, that outpouring of grief, is a testament to the woman she was and how much she was loved. Her family says Aisha Fraser and her ex-husband Lance Mason had an arrangement. They would exchange custody of their two young daughters at this home on Chagrin Boulevard, owned by Aisha, rented by Mason's sister. On Saturday, the arrangement that had been working so well went so tragically wrong.
On Saturday, he waited for her, and when she pulled in to drop the kids off as agreed, as she was taking the children out of the car, he attacked her.
Aisha's uncle George Fraser says the two children had just been going through therapy to deal with the first incident 4 years ago, when Lance Mason beat Aisha so badly he broke 7 bones in her face. Since he was released from prison for that, Fraser says, there had been no contact between the two, no other incidents until Saturday.
So in his mind, I'm sure there were a number of things that he was not happy with. In his own mind, Aisha was just going about her life in the way that she always did.
A life cut short far too soon. A school, an entire community in mourning. Aisha's two young daughters are with their godmother, Aisha's best friend. She plans to adopt them. That candlelight vigil begins at 5:30 this evening. We already see people gathering here at this hour. Live in Shaker Heights, Homa Bash, News 5.
All right, Homa, thank you. Now, Homa mentioned the no contact order between Mason and his ex-wife. That was one of the conditions of Mason's early release from prison. 5 on your side investigator Scott Knoll's been digging into that part of the story. He's here now with what he's found. Scott.
Rob, Lance Mason was originally sentenced to 2 years in prison for attempted felonious assault and domestic violence. Those convictions for that brutal attack on his ex-wife.
8 months into that 2-year sentence, court records show Lance Mason asked for judicial release from prison. Mason's attorney pointing to counseling his client received and painting Mason as a model inmate and loving father, even writing that Mason now understands that this unlikely path has unveiled many truths and profoundly provided clarity and a greater purpose in his life. The next month, a judge granted Mason early release, but placed him on probation for the next 5 years and ordered Mason have no contact with his ex-wife. Today, Lorain County Probation, which supervises Mason, said Mason never missed a check-in with his probation officer and tested negative for drugs each time. The most recent visit was 2 weeks ago.
We did find that on Friday, Bank of America filed a lien against Mason in court. Records show that stemmed from a $13,000 credit account in Mason's name. Debt, the bank claimed, dates back to at least 2016. Live in the newsroom, I'm 5 on your side investigator Scott Knoll.
Okay, Scott, thank you. Now, despite a previous domestic violence conviction, Lance Mason was hired by the city of Cleveland last year to work as a minority business development director. Mayor Frank Jackson tells News 5 he stands by hiring Mason, saying people deserve second chances.
That we hire many ex-felons, and almost all of them turn out well because we have second chance as part of what we do as a policy in the city.
Mayor Jackson went on to say Mason was a very effective employee. Mason was fired Saturday, though, after his arrest.